Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's LinkedIn and YouTube live session. I am Dr. Damodar Sahu, and I am thrilled to be joined by Lagna Panda, a privacy and compliance expert named IBLJ's Future Legal Leader 2025, with expertise in competition law, privacy, cybersecurity, and digital policy, who brings incredible insights into the world of real world data challenges. Today, we are diving into an important topic for enterprises and data professionals. Like this topic, we are going to cover the hidden hurdles of privacy implementation from DSARs to deletion request. Welcome, Lagna.
Thank you, Dr. Sahu. I'm very excited to join you again here. And thank you so much for having me. Very excited to share my thoughts and certain perspectives on what are the likely challenges that companies will face when they are trying to implement privacy related legal requirements. This is actually an area where theory will meet reality because privacy compliance is not as simple as it sounds. It really requires companies to rethink how they have been collecting, storing, transferring, and sharing personal data. So very excited to join you today.
Exactly. No, thank you so much for joining in all the way from India. So over the next few minutes, we will explore why things like data subject access request or DSARs and deletion requests are often harder than they seem, right? And we'll share some example from real enterprise experience and provide actionable takeaways. So why privacy implementation gets complicated? Lagna, in theory, DSARs and deletion requests seems pretty straightforward, but in practice, many organizations struggle. Why do these simple concepts become so complex, Lagna?
Right, Dr. Sahu. Well, one of the main reason is that data that is collected is everywhere within an organization. It stays across multiple systems, across different departments, and even on the cloud. Uh, there can be various touch points for data collection as well within an organization. So that's one part of the problem. Uh, when an individual is submitting a request, an access request, which is a DSAR,
Yeah.
it's not just about pulling that data, but it is also about validating it and ensuring that nothing has been missed. So, for example, just to give you an example, within an organization, maybe the marketing team, maybe somebody in the marketing team has decided to include meta tags to collect data. Now, while the data collected by meta tags are not direct identifiers, but the information can still be personal data, unless an organization's data map or data inventory is capturing that information. A DSAR that is that an individual applies or submits will not include it. So there will be a gap.
Yeah.
And what I want to highlight here is that while creating a data inventory or a data map it is very important for an organization, it is also important to train employees to ensure that employees are following all the policies, protocols, procedures that have been set out by an organization on how personal data has to be processed. So, those are the challenges.
No, that resonates. In fact, I have seen companies with sophisticated tools or products still stumble because their internal processes were not aligned with the regulatory requirement. And then when you add purpose limitation, it becomes even trickier to know which data can actually be shared, right?
Exactly. And deletion requests also have their own challenges because organizations have to ensure that personal data that is deleted as per request, the deletion happens without impacting the systems and without affecting operational efficiencies. and while complying with retention legal requirements and organizations retention policies. So this is where documented procedure has to be followed, and operational planning has to be there. That really matters.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now let's deep dive into DSARs and deletion requests. So, Lagna, let's talk specifics. DSARs are a core requirement in many privacy laws. What are the hurdles you see most often?
Well, some of the hurdles can be, one is like I mentioned, because data can be everywhere, cross visibility of data within an organization, because we don't really know where personal data is sitting within an organization. There can be multiple access and deletion requests, so tracking those multiple requests. And like I mentioned initially, it's not just about collecting or figuring out where the data is. It is also about validating the data to ensure that the data access request or the data deletion request is being adhered to. Also, different jurisdictions may have different compliance requirements in terms of format, in terms of processes, in terms of time period that is specified for compliance. Some jurisdictions specify for 30-day compliance. Some jurisdiction allow for 45-day when a DSAR is submitted. So all of this adds additional layers of complexity when we are talking about privacy compliance.
Well said. And what about deletion requests? In my experience, organizations underestimate the technical effort to erase data safely across backups or archival system or third-party systems. A simple request can quickly turn into a project, right? So what do you say about it?
No, absolutely, Dr. Sahu. I mean, it is not a very simple exercise
Yeah,
because different categories of data may have different retention periods. For example, accounting records may be maintained for 8 years, GST records may be maintained for 6 years. Sometimes, same categories of data may also be subject to different laws, which have different retention requirement. Then organizations typically have their own legal hold or litigation hold policies for emails and other records, whether it is for future litigation or ongoing litigation. Then, of course, there's issue of legacy systems, which were not really designed keeping privacy in mind. Um, and of course, personal data many a times is shared with third-party data processors. So any request that is made for access or deletion, the data fiduciary has to ensure that the data processor is also deleting the data.
right.
So I completely agree with you that it can turn into a project unless there is adequate planning, and there is adequate procedural protocols that are put in place within an organization.
Mhm.
So planning, of course, is important. The second thing that organizations can keep in mind is how to automate processes,
Yeah,
and third is privacy by design. Privacy by design, I mean, it's a concept that has been talked about a lot over the
yeah.
past many years, but it is something that is very important, because only if an organization plans, automates and follows the process of privacy by design, it can really bring in efficiency while processing these requests.
Nice, nice. Uh, I would like to request you give us few practical insights and solutions or few practical tips based on your experience, Lagna.
Right, right. Dr. Sahu, I think first would be, of course, like I mentioned, data mapping, data inventory is very important.
Mm-hmm.
So that can be centralized so that every department, every team that is sitting across within an organization knows where the data exactly is.
Yeah,
And to also centralize request management so that everybody has visibility on what sort of requests are coming in. Having a centralized repository will also allow employees to sort of track what are the personal data flows, and organization should also aim to basically update their systems as regularly as possible, which includes these centralized repositories. Second, the processes and protocols that an organization has to follow when processing any access or deletion request, that can be standardized and the system can be put in place so that there's efficiency when those requests come in. Agreements with the data processors should have adequate provisions to ensure that these access and deletion requests can be processed. For example, data fiduciaries can have indemnity provisions. They can have provisions to ensure that any instruction given for deletion to data processors will be complied with. Uh, Fourth, I would say that organizations should definitely consider putting in place an incident handling plan, which is for any cyber incident, including data breaches. And the plan can sort of identify who will be the point of contact, how authorities, regulators have to be notified, what sort of remediation steps can be taken. Lastly, since we are living in the age of I think AI tools can be helpful, and organizations can sort of understand, maybe figure out, identify how those tools can be deployed to categorize, classify, pull personal data so that these requests can be processed more efficiently.
Well said, well said. Thank you so much. So, adding to that, at an executive level, it is also critical to align policies across business units, train employees continuously, and ensure legal and IT teams collaborate closely. I have seen this approach drastically reduce turnaround time and risk exposures.
Right, right, of course, Dr. Sahu. And I mean, to also mention that any protocols that are put in place, there should be dry runs or test runs to make sure that those systems and protocols and procedures that an organization is putting in place, those can actually those can actually be followed efficiently, and there are no sort of hiccups when
Yeah.
following those protocols. uh, so that sort of proactive compliance is what an organization needs to keep in mind when they're designing a program, when they're assessing their system and putting in place various protocols and processes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
as enterprises expand their operation globally, multi-jurisdiction compliance becomes another dimension, like India's Aadhaar requirement, EU's GDPR, and other local laws requires tailored processes. So now let's encourage our viewers to ask or comment few questions if you have, where you can answer them once the live session is over. And here is one LinkedIn chat as I put that we are going live. Somebody asked me, my friend, from privacy background. So he has said, how do small teams manage data subject access requests without dedicated privacy stuff? So Lagna, what is your take on it?
Right. I mean, that's a very good question because there is a compliance cost to privacy. We
Mm.
have to be mindful of that. It is going to cost companies.
Yeah.
So small teams can basically think about, how they should how they should how they can automate systems and
Yeah.
protocols, and they can create standard templates that can be used when these requests come in. uh, of course, they can deploy centralized tracking tools or have centralized repositories, as I mentioned earlier. And lastly, if the privacy team, if the in-house privacy team or the in-house team is small, then of course external privacy consultants, legal consultants can be reached out to sort of handle some of these requests, and where the workloads are at peak and cannot be managed internally. So, I mean, compliance is important, but compliance also has to be done efficiently, because in most of these cases, there will be specific time period that has been specified by applicable laws, which have to be adhered to.
Absolutely, absolutely. I can see another question came earlier. Can AI really help with deletion request? I would say yes, but for identifying data across systems, but human oversight is critical to avoid mistakes. So, what is your take on it?
I completely agree, Dr. Sahu. I think AI is a great tool, but I think we are still in very early stages at this point, and we are yet to see how AI can be deployed for governance purposes.
Mm.
So while AI can be used, keeping in mind whether the accepting the fact that the data pulling or any request made may not be accurate,
Yeah.
human intervention cannot be taken out completely. So while AI tools can be employed, it cannot replace accountability of a data fiduciary. And to make sure that a data fiduciary's accountability is being taken care of adequately, human intervention must be there.
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, thank you for your valuable insight, Lagna. Any final thoughts for our audience?
Well, my final thoughts would be that I mean, privacy compliance is not something we can ignore anymore. It is imperative that organizations start thinking about it. And once organizations start thinking about it, they'll realize that it is an uphill task, because there's a lot of operational readiness. There are a lot of systems and protocols that will have to be put in place, policies will have to be created, and of course continuous testing and continuous learning will be there once those systems and protocols are put in place. Handling access requests and deletion requests are, they will be challenging for organizations, but with the right approach and with the right tools, those can be made efficient. The processes can be made efficient, and while ensuring that data fiduciaries legal obligations are adequately discharged.
Perfectly said, Lagna. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Don't forget to follow us for more discussion on privacy, compliance, and emerging tech. Stay curious, stay compliant, and safeguard data responsibly. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Lagna.
Thank you, Dr. Sahu. Thank you.